Okay, we'll get to them. Go ahead, brother. You got a question or comment?
Oh, I wanted to ask, why were you running from God? What was your reason for
Well, when the Lord told me to start preaching when I was 12, I mean, you think about what kind of mind a 12-year-old have. It wasn't that, now, here's the thing. It wasn't that I just flat out told God, no, I ain't going to do it. I went and talked to some people who were older than me about it. And some of them were encouraging me. But the main person that I talked to, I told them about it. And they didn't have too much to say. So in my mind, okay, I'm called to preach. Now, I knew, ever since I've known my existence that I was called to preach. I just had not been commissioned to do it yet, you see. And so I was around several family members one July, in fact, it was that same month. And I'm walking around happy because, when you have found your purpose and you've been commissioned to do it, that it is like your eyes open and you begin to see life. And now, And so one of my uncles asked me, he said, why are you walking around so happy? And I said, well, because I'm a preacher. The Lord called me to preach. And so somebody else there who I confided that in, they said, he's not a preacher. And this person was very influential. And so when they said that, I guess I'm not called to preach. And that shut that down right there. So it wasn't that I didn't flat out reject it up front. But, it was just a gradual thing. I talked with a couple of ministers about it. One minister told me, well, if God called you to preach, you need to go do that. But the people that were over me at that time, they just weren't in a place to receive it, you see. And even when I answered my call, and that's another thing we'll add, 20 years old, when I answered my call, I went one day, I'm out playing basketball, cussing, fighting, doing everything, and the next day, I'm God's minister. So there wasn't some long incline where, okay, Lord, I'm saved, I got baptized, okay, I'm going to be a deacon, and then I'm going to be an elder, and then I'm going to be a reverend, and then it just went from, just like Paul, I went from one side of the ditch to the other. One day I'm completely lost, on my way to hell. The next day I'm full-fledged for the Lord. And you know what? Folks had a problem with that too. And I was just telling a friend of mine the other day, I told him, I shared this story with him as well. And I let him know even 20 years ago, when I was in prison, the same way that I teach now, that's the way it was back then. It wasn't anything that I grew in. That's how I know it's a gift. And that's what I was sharing with him. That's how I know it's a gift. Now, again, I say, had I had the same mind that I have today that I had back then, I just would have went on in it. But see, my thinking too at that time was, I got to study. Lord, what am I going to say? I don't know your word. I don't know, how to put it all together. But it's a gift. It's a gift. So does that answer your question? All right.